Yep.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. Hello, San Jose. Thank you very much. You. I hear you. Thank you, Tony. First, let me apologize for not being there. San Jose is one of my favorite parts of the United States, and I love boy, nationalism. And but my schedule sometimes doesn't permit me to hop around. Today I'm in Atlanta for a special conference tomorrow, and then I go back to LA and then back to Washington, so I'm on kind of a circuit. So I'm happy to be here, at least by this method. I am live and I am with you, but I must admit something. I have no idea why I'm here. I have no particular message. I have nothing to sell. I have no books, no tapes, no records, nothing. So I figured out why Tony invites me to these get-togethers. He needs something between lunch and the next speaker. It's that little bridge in there. So what I am is, I am Phil.
F-I-L-L. I'm filling in. So, as you were sitting down and you looked at the program and you said, boy, Larry King, I wonder what he's going to talk about. It may interest you to know that Larry was thinking the same thing. What am I going to talk about? I mean, I can't take your questions because it's too big an audience, but I can tell you this. I'll send a couple of messages. Most of the times I'm in Washington. Bill Clinton would have loved to have been with you today, but it's the last year of his presidency, so he's dating again. And and Al Gore, what can I say about Al Gore? I mean, he's a good friend of mine. I know him 30 years, but he is boring. We're going to have Bohr versus Mush. This is going to be some election. No, Al is boring. I can tell you how boring he is. He's there today. He's in the 5th row. He's had a great time. He had a wonderful lunch. He is so boring that, you know, the Secret Service, they have a code name for everybody at the White House. There's a code name for the president and a code name for the first lady. Everyone has a code name. Al Gore is so boring that his code name is Al Gore. That's boring. And one question I'm always asked everywhere I go is, what was it like to be kissed on the lips by Marlon Brando? For some strange reason, at the end of our first interview, Brando kissed me flush on the lips, and I have never been kissed on the lips by a man in my life. I'm heterosexual. I can't help it. I was born that way, I guess. I'm heterosexual. I mention this everywhere but downtown San Francisco. And also certain parts of Houston, I don't bring it up. Anyway, Brando kisses me flush on the lips. I've never been kissed on the lips by a man. Now, I am an affectionate person. I hug my brother, I hug my friends, but I've never been kissed on the lips till Brando. And I have a confession to make to you today. I can't stop thinking about him. Last week I got up in the middle of the night yelling Stella, and I don't know anybody named Stella. So I think I might talk to you. You're a wonderful audience and very lively, and obviously Tony's got you all revved. I might talk to you about what it's like to be a speaker. These stories are true. It's one thing to sit in an audience and watch speakers, and you do it all day, and it's a lot of fun. It can be interesting or boring or whatever. But it's a different world to be a speaker. When you're a speaker speaking out to an audience rather than getting it back, it's 6 of one, half a dozen. It's just, I can't see you, but if anyone, the first story involves the Rotary Club. If anyone in the audience is in the Rotary Club, This is said with apologies, but it is the truth. By the way, if you don't know what Rotary is basically 100 men, white socks, brown shoes. They sell each other insurance, they sing Rotary songs, they eat lunch, and they go home. This is true of a Rotary luncheon in New Delhi or New York. It's the same thing the world over. There used to be a men's-only club. Now they take women, but they're everywhere. And they do wonderful charity work, but they're very tunnel-visioned. They really get after you. And this happened to me. I was working in Miami, and I get a call one day from a guy. He says, Mr. King, I am with the Miami Shores Rotary Club. We are the oldest Rotary Club in America. Ponce de Leon was our first member. We are old. Each June we have a big conclave, a big meeting. It's our meeting of the year. I know this is January. It's 6 months away. Would you be the speaker at our meeting? I said, I'll be happy to. He gives me the date, tells me where. It's 6 months away. I'm about to hang up. He says, oh, one other thing. What is your topic? So I said, I'm sorry, I don't have a topic. He said, oh, no, you must have a topic. I said, wait a minute. You called me. You want me to speak. I don't have a topic. He said, but this is Rotary. I said, I don't have a topic. He said, if we invited President Eisenhower, we would demand a topic. I said, call him. So I hung up and he hung up. Now it's the next night. I've got a radio show. I'm about to go on the air. It's 1 minute to airtime. 1 minute. The producer comes running in. Emergency call, line 1. I pick up the phone and I hear chicka, 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 chicka. And it's this guy, Speakers Chairman of the Rotary Club. He says, I'm at the print shop. We're printing up the flyer for your meeting. What is your topic? So I can tell, ladies and gentlemen, if I don't say something to this guy, he is going to drive me nuts for 6 months. I got to tell him something. I got to go on the air. I got 1 minute to go on the air. So for some reason, I gave him a topic that I not only know nothing about, I had no interest in, wasn't reading about, didn't have a guest schedule, but I gave him this topic. And to this minute, I don't know why I gave him this topic. But I said to him, my topic is the future of the American Merchant Marine. Swear to God. He said thank you, I said thank you, he hung up, I hung up. Forgot about it. Now it's 6 months later. I've done speeches, I've done radio shows, I've done television shows, classic workaholic. All I have written down is 8 o'clock, Miami Shores Country Club, and I have no memory of talking to this guy. I don't even remember that it's Rotary. I just know 8 o'clock, Miami Shores Country Club. No memory of the conversation. I drive to the country club that night. I get to the parking lot. There's a sign, lot full. So I got to park a block away, and I'm really impressed with myself that I packed them in. Boy, hey, Larry, you did it. I get to the front of the building. I swear to God, there's a sign. Tonight, the future of the American Merchant Marine. I said to myself, Jesus Christ, they got 2 speakers. I got the wrong night. Something's confused. Now the guy comes running out, the guy who called me. He is beside himself with excitement. This tells you a lot about Rotary. This topic, the future of the American Merchant Marine, broke their all-time attendance record. They came on wheelchairs from Fort Lauderdale to hear this. He says to me, Mr. King, we are so excited. We can't wait to hear about the future of the American Merchant Marine. And I said to myself, you can't wait. He takes me inside. The place is mobbed. There's standing room only. They got me on stage, a dais. I can't believe this. And this was a very conservative club, a really wacko conservative club. I mean, no, the drummer wasn't in the band. I mean, this club thought the Revolutionary War was treason. They thought the king was a pretty good guy. I'll tell you how bad it was. They had a huge picture on the wall of Barry Goldwater, and on top it said Pinko. Yeah, they gave out baby pictures of Rush Limbaugh saying he is born. I mean, this group didn't play with the full deck. Now I'm sitting there, and the guy who called me gets up to introduce me. tells him he took the day off work, State Farm, whatever, took the day off work, went to the library to research the history of the American Merchant Marine, and the guy does 20 minutes of history of the Merchant Marine. Truth, he's doing tonnage. He's talking about harbor size comparative to tonnage. I'm falling asleep. The audience is orgasmic. The Rotarians love this. And he says, and now, to discuss the future of the American Merchant Marine, here is Larry King. All right, now that is panic. I go up to the microphone, I can still remember the feeling, my mouth is dry, I don't know what to say, and I figure, listen, if you don't know it, leave it alone. Don't fake it. I never mentioned the American Merchant Marine once. I spoke about baseball, I spoke about Dade County, anything I could think of. The audience never clapped, never applauded, never laughed. I said, thank you very much, jumped off the stage, and ran out of the building. It's all I could think of to do. I passed one guy turning up his hearing aid, saying, did he mention the Merchant Marine? I get to my car, it's a June night in Miami, it's a humid night, I slam the door, turn on the engine, the air conditioning's blowing in my face, and I say to myself, listen, I don't need this. I'm never going to speak again. I don't need it in my life. I got radio, I got television, I can write columns, I don't have to speak. And suddenly, there's a banging on the window of the car. The speaker's chairman, the guy who called me to go into the library, has followed me to my car. He's banging on the window, and he is ticked. No, I don't want to say ticked. He's beyond ticked. He is in a new world of tickdom. He is banging fiercely away. He's frothing at the mouth. I hit the button. The window goes down. He's so mad, he sticks his head in the window. Now, you got to picture this scene. He's got his head in the window. I got my hand on the button. You're a little Jewish kid from Brooklyn. You never know power. I could have sweated and guillotined him. He backs off the window and he screams, you never mentioned the future of the American Merchant Marine. We drew the largest membership attendance in our history. They came from everywhere. We sent out flyers, and you never mentioned the future of the American Merchant Marine. I said they have no future and drove away. Which is one way not to be invited back. You're a great audience. Another time, I spoke and worked for the mafia. I did. Now, my friend Mario Cuomo says, Larry, there is no mafia. And I says, yes, Mario, and you're still governor of New York. Trust me, there is a mafia. And like most of you, I used to think that all the mafia did was maf all day long. In other words, no, I used to think you get up in the morning, breakfast, crime, 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 lunch, crime, 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 dinner, a couple of crimes, go to sleep. Right? I mean, that's their business. That's their business. We do our business, they do their business. So I figured that's all they do. That image is wrong. Yes, they're in the crime business, but they also go to shopping centers, their children go to school, and they get involved in charities. And that's how I got involved with them. I was sitting at Channel 4 one day in Miami. I'll never forget. I still remember the name of the guy who came in. A guy named Tay Boy came in and said, Larry, line 2 is for you. It's a boom boom giorno. I don't know any boom boom giorno. I pick up the phone. I said, hello. That's the only word I said and the last word I said. Suddenly a voice says, King, boom boom giorno. November 3rd, War Memorial Auditorium, Fort Lauderdale. Boys Town of Italy. It's a charity. Sergio Franchi is the singer. You are the MC. 8 o'clock, black tie, hung up. I went. Something told me to go to this. Something in my innards said it would be in my best interest to go to this. So I drive up US 1, opposite Sears. I make the turn. There it is, War Memorial Auditorium, big sign. Boys Town of Italy, charity tonight. Singer Sergio Franchi, MC Larry King. I said, boy, thank God I wrote it down. I park the car. I go in through the artist entrance. There's a guy standing there, pinstripe, double-breasted suit, cigarette dangling from his lips. And he says to me, I'm boom boom giorno. "We are very glad you came." And I said to myself, "You're glad I came." He takes me backstage. It was unbelievable. They had a 50-piece Catholic high school marching band. They had a cardinal flown in from Italy who ran Boys Town, Sergio Franchi, and his 23-piece orchestra. I went over to Sergio. I said, "How'd they get you for this?" He says, "Guy named Boom Boom Giorno called. I'm here." Boom Boom now gives me my instructions. He says, "Here's what we want you to do. Go on stage, talk for 20 minutes, bring on Sergio, he'll sing for an hour, then we all go back on stage, we present the Cardinal with a check, that's the evening. And when you're talking, you can kid us all you like, we know who we are, you can make all the jokes, but don't ask to have the house lights turned on." I says, "Why, Boom Boom?" He says, "Well, there are competitors in the audience. There are guys in the jukebox business. There's guys in the olive oil business. There's a whole section of FBI agents. Leave the lights dark." So that's nervous, right? I go on stage. They were a great audience. I talked about growing up Jewish in Brooklyn and Italian gangs and Jews. They were laughed. The Mafia has, if they're in good shape, they're really good guys. They're a good audience. They laughed a lot. I bring on Sergio. He was amazing. He sang for an hour. He killed them. Back we all go on stage. We give the Cardinal a check for $450,000 they raised in this one night. Boom Boom is now walking me to my car. It's like 10 after 11, a very successful night. He's walking me out to the parking lot. He says, "Hey, thanks a lot." I said, "My pleasure." He says, "We talked to all the guys. We really appreciate it." I says, "My pleasure." He says, "Listen, we owe you a favor." So I said, "Boom Boom, I was happy to do this. I don't need any favors. I had a great time." Boom Boom then says, "We don't like to owe favors." So I suddenly realize that I have a marker on the Mafia. They owe me a favor, and they don't like to owe favors. So I said, "What do you got in mind?" Logical thing. What do you got in mind? Ladies and gentlemen, he said 5 words. I just thought of it now, and a chill went up my spine. Right now, I remember where the moon was. I remember the sweat going down my face. Just 5 words. No one in this audience has ever heard those 5 words. You'll never hear them. I'll never hear them again. But that night, at about 10 after 11, on that November night, Boom Boom Giorno said to me, "Got anybody you don't like?" Now, I'll tell you the truth, ladies and gentlemen. If anybody ever says that to you, "Got anybody you don't like," putting morality aside, the first thing you think of is names. I saved the life of the general manager at Channel 4 that night. I finally said to him, I said, "Boom Boom, I can't do that. I couldn't harm anybody." He said, "Okay, you like horse racing?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "We'll be in touch." About 3 weeks later, I get a call early in the morning. I don't recognize the voice. Could have been Boom Boom. I don't know who it was. I just said hello, and the voice said, "Apple Tree in the 3rd at Hialeah." All I had was $800 to my name. I borrow $500. I go to the track. 3rd race, I bet $1,300 to win on Apple Tree. The horses are going into the gate, and I say to myself, you know, there are 3 sure things in life: death, taxes, and Apple Tree's going to win the 3rd. I especially knew it during the running of the race when 5 jockeys jumped off their horses. Mafia has a way of ensuring things. Sometimes you can take a subject that's not the subject the audience likes and turn them around. In other words, you can take a hostile audience and turn them around. This happened to me once. It's a good example of what a speaker can be faced with. The district attorney of Miami was a friend of mine. He calls me up one day. He says, "Larry, I got a real problem. We have 2 conventions going on at the same time. The National Chiefs of Police and the National District Attorneys. They're both here. It turns out this was by accident. Nobody planned it that way. They're both in the same time. Sunday night is a vacant night. Both conventions end Sunday afternoon. We decide we're going to have a big dinner combined. Chiefs of Police, District Attorneys, Sunday night in the ballroom at the Fontainebleau Hotel. My problem is we canceled our afternoon session so everybody could get ready for the dinner, But I had to take my speaker. I'm the chairman of the local group. Frank Sullivan is chairman of the Florida Crime Commission. He's going to speak at the dinner, and the problem is he's the world's most boring speaker. He speaks in a monotone. No one will like him. I can't cancel him. He's chairman of the Crime Commission. I said, well, what can I do? He said, would you follow him? So the audience, makes some laughs. It ends on a high note. I says, but nobody there knows me. I'm just a Miami. He said, I'll give you a big introduction. Big introduction. So I go there that night. I'm sitting on stage. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. 1,000 people, chiefs of police, some of them in uniform, district attorneys, a heavy crowd, man. Frank Sullivan gets up to speak. He was the worst speaker I ever heard. He spoke like, we'll wipe out crime. First person to go to sleep was his wife. She went right into the baked Alaska. Gone, boom, out. He speaks, he finishes, the little applause, and half the crowd is leaving. They're totally bored out of their mind. It's Sunday night, like 11:30. The district attorney gets up, and here's my big introduction to the crowd that doesn't know me. Ladies and gentlemen, before you leave, a few words from my friend Larry. Now look at this situation. Nobody knows me. Half the crowd is standing. That's Sunday night. They're ready to get packed to go home the next day. Chiefs of police, district attorneys, world's most boring speaker. I got to think on my feet. I run to the microphone. I said, ladies and gentlemen, hold it. Stop. Stay right where you are. I'm in broadcasting. Yes, broadcasting. And in broadcasting, we have a fairness doctrine. We have an equal time vote. We have just heard Frank Sullivan speak against crime. I am here to speak on behalf of crime. I'll tell you the truth, it was a real grabber. You could have heard a pin drop. They all scrambled back to their seats. I had complete silence. I had their total attention. I had to think of something to say. I said, ladies and gentlemen, how many people in this room would like to live in Butte, Montana? Nobody raised their hand. I said, see? Nobody wants to live in Butte, Montana, the lowest rated crime city in the Western world. Last year, there were no reported crimes in Butte, Montana. Nobody wants to live there. The top 5 crime cities in America are New York, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Chicago, and Miami. The top 5 tourist cities in America are New York, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Chicago, and Miami. Ladies and gentlemen, crime is a major tourist attraction. I guarantee you, you put crime in your community and your airports are flooded with people. You get crime, they rush to there. And I said another thing that Mr. Sullivan didn't tell you. If crime is in your community, the money stays local. No federal income taxes. The money swirls around. And another thing he didn't tell you. Think of this. What if he's right? What if we follow everything he did? We then wipe out crime in America. Then what? Everybody in this room is out of work. Police chief of Louisville, Kentucky jumped up and said, what can we do to help? A great audience. I'm doing my job as a fill-in. Oh, by the way, I heard a great joke today. You got this is a good joke. Just a quick Henny Youngman kind of joke. I want to die like granddad in his sleep, not like the other 3 people in the car screaming. That's funny. That's funny. I just heard that today. I keep telling Tony Robbins to do me a favor and invite a speaker he never calls upon to speak at these sessions, Yogi Berra. You see, I get the same reaction when I mention that. You know, Yogi Berra, why? He's 78 years old. He's a former great baseball player. He's in the Hall of Fame. But what would you get out of Yogi Berra? Here's what would happen. Yogi would speak. You'd sit. You'd stare. You'd look. He'd do 20 minutes. You would have no idea what he's talking about. None. You'll look at each other. You won't laugh. You won't do anything. You'll finish. You'll applaud. What was that about? And it'll hit you later. It could hit you tonight, tomorrow, maybe in 2 weeks. You'll say, yes, he said that. You'll laugh because what he says, he speaks in aphorism, speaks in total aphorism, speaks total truth, 100% truth, and doesn't know he's funny. And when you can do that, speak in aphorism, speak total truth and not know you're funny, you always get a delayed reaction. Mayor Daley did it in Chicago. Yogi does it to this day. You know, he said it's deja vu all over again. It ain't over till it's over. Everyone knows that, but listen to these yogiisms and take them with you, because it always hits you later. You never get it quick. Yogi once said, nobody goes to that restaurant anymore. It's too crowded. Got to pay attention. I was at a banquet once. I'm the MC at this banquet in New York. I'm sitting between Yogi and Joe Garagiola. And Joe Garagiola said to Yogi, Yogi, what time is it? Swear to God. Yogi said, do you mean now? Garagiola said yes. He gave him the time. An hour later, Garagiola said to me, when I asked him what time is it, did he say, do you mean now? And did I say yes? Yogi was once asked, Yogi, if you found $1 million, what would you do? He said, I'd find whoever lost it, and if he was poor, I return it immediately. He was on a PBS show once. No one could figure out how he got on this PBS show. The subject is philosophy of life. They get to Yogi. What is your philosophy? And Yogi said, simple. When you get to a fork in the road, take it. But I'll close with my favorite story. Was told to me by Gil McDougall, a teammate of Yogi's. Went over to him one day, those great Yankee teams, batting practice. He said, Yogi, did you hear the news on the radio? Yogi said, what? He says, today, Yogi, in Dublin, Ireland, they elected a Jewish mayor. In Dublin, Ireland, they elected a Jewish mayor. Yogi looked up and said, only in America. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Thank you, Tony. Go get 'em. Go Niners! Go Giants! Thanks, guys.